In today's story, you will understand why silence is the most powerful protection a dream can have. Stay until the end, because what you're about to hear might be the only thing missing for your dream to finally manifest. And now, our story is about to begin. In the city of Villa Esperanza lived Rosalia, a simple, hard-working woman with a generous heart. For over 10 years, she had worked as a housemaid for the Ferraz family, one of the richest families in town, and she loved her job. Not because of the salary, but because of the way she was treated. Mrs. Helena, the lady of the house, had always treated her with respect and dignity, as if she were part of the family. Rosalia was grateful. She felt that in that house, her life and her daughter's life were surrounded by good influences. Her only daughter was Eduarda. She was 15, a dreamer, a dedicated student, and her eyes sparkled with the belief that she could conquer the world. That afternoon, while Rosalia was tidying up the kitchen with Zuleida, another housemaid who helped with the cleaning, the door swung open. Duda came running in, her eyes glowing. Mom, I've decided. I already know what I want to do. I'm going to apply for medical school. Rosalia, who knew how hard her daughter had been working, smiled with emotion. But before she could answer, Zuleida, who had been listening to the conversation, blurted out, "Oh, girl, medicine. You don't know what you're talking about. My niece tried for 6 years at the best prep course in town, and in the end, she only managed to get a half scholarship for nursing. That kind of thing is only for people with money and a lot of free time." The words, spoken in a dry tone, cut through the air. Duda's smile faded instantly. Rosalia felt her daughter's pain, but before she could say anything, a calm voice came from the living room. "Duda, come here for a moment, my dear." It was Mrs. Helena. She was there, watching everything with the same serenity as always, without raising her voice, without rushing. Just that gaze that seemed to see beyond. Duda put her backpack down and walked into the living room, not knowing what to expect. She entered with a downcast face and sat on the couch. Mrs. Helena slowly approached, holding a cup of tea in her hands, and sat beside her. They stayed silent for a few seconds, a silence that strangely didn't feel heavy. On the contrary, it felt comforting. Mrs. Helena looked at her calmly and said, "I used to be very poor, Duda." Duda looked at her in silence. "No, so poor, sure, that my mother used to make sugar water and call it sweet soup. And I pretended to believe her just so she wouldn't cry. I wasn't born into this pretty house, these clothes, this peace. And that's why what I'm about to tell you is not advice from someone rich. It's a truth that changed my life, and if you understand it, it might change yours too." Duda nodded with her eyes. "When I was young, I also dreamed big. And just like you, I shared my dreams with people who didn't know how to dream. They laughed, they doubted, they tried to convince me that I was dreaming too big." She paused. "And I realized, Duda, that sometimes what kills a dream isn't doubt. It's not even the lack of effort. It's what we say after we decide what we want. When you talk too much about a dream, especially in the beginning, you weaken it. The energy that should be focused on making it real starts to scatter. You give away a part of your strength to those who don't feel what you feel." She leaned in slightly. "A dream, Duda, is like a newborn. In the beginning, it's fragile. It needs silence, protection, warmth. You don't take a baby just anywhere. You don't expose it to noise, to confusion, because it's still building immunity. The dream is the same. If you expose it too soon, it becomes too vulnerable." Duda swallowed hard. That made sense in a way she had never thought before. And that's where the danger comes in. The doubts of others, the fear that wasn't yours, the comment that discourages, all of it can come in and choke a dream that had just begun to breathe. She continued firmly. Talking to much is a hidden cry for approval, and when you need others to approve, it's a sign that you're not yet sure of what you feel. But when you truly believe, you don't need to announce it. You just feel it and move forward. Mrs. Helena leaned back and concluded, "Silence protects. It keeps your faith in the safest place there is, inside you. And that's how dreams grow, without noise, without an audience, without rush." She looked into the girl's eyes. "Stay silent, Eduarda, and manifest everything." Duda felt as if those words had been written directly on her heart. "You don't need to convince anyone. You just need to convince yourself." Mrs. Helena paused. "Now that you understand the power of keeping your dreams in silence, I want to teach you something that can change your path." She adjusted her posture and said simply, "If you truly want to get into medical school, Duda, do this exercise every day without missing a single one. It will speed up your process a lot." She continued calmly, "Everything you feel with truth, your mind understands as real. When you visualize with emotion, your body reacts as if it's already living that reality. And that's what changes your frequency. What you cultivate inside, with clarity and feeling, begins to materialize on the outside." She leaned in, slightly like someone sharing a secret. "Before you go to sleep and right after you wake up, close your eyes and see yourself there. Inside the university, wearing the white coat, with your name on the list of those accepted. Create a movie in your mind, Duda, so vivid, so strong, that it becomes unforgettable. Feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude. Carry that feeling with you throughout the day, and every time doubt or fear shows up, return to that movie. Return to that certainty, because that feeling is what will open the paths." She smiled gently. "And remember, you don't need to tell anyone. You don't need to explain. Just feel, just live, in silence." From that day on, Duda changed. She no longer talked about the entrance exam with anyone. She kept silent, studying with focus, visualizing with faith, and every day recreating the same movie, herself in a white coat, walking into the university at... First it was hard to maintain the discipline, but over time it became part of her, and the feeling became so strong that it already felt real. A year and a half went by, and the acceptance into medical school came. The movie she had visualized every day, which had already become part of every cell in her body, finally became reality. Sometimes what you need the most isn't to make more noise, it's to protect your dream in silence until it's strong enough to bloom on its own. Believe in what you feel. Trust what you carry inside you, and let the universe take care of the rest. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you will always find stories that warm the soul and awaken truths that were asleep inside you. See you in the next video.